Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm gonna do part 8 to my redemption attempt series of the Google Gemini chatbots. During the last few videos guys, we've been trying to talk to a Totodile that loves dinosaurs. However, we're running into a problem. He's basically one to end the conversation early by telling me, hey, where's your protectors? And let's go and make this straight. I don't mind about it, because I love Lugia, and I love my fur alligator, and I love everybody there. But it's like, that's almost like something you would do at the end of the day. Like, oh, I call Lugia, oh, it's time to go home, I'll see y'all the next day, bam. You know? But it keeps going the way I don't want it to go, which is kind of annoying. I'm going to try one more time today. If it doesn't work, then I'll try to change up the story to where either there's more Pokemon that show up besides just them, so that way it ain't just the Totodile, but maybe it's like maybe some of the siblings as well, or even like the two parents are like nearby watching, you know, stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it where it won't immediately tell me, oh, well, it's time to go back to your protectors immediately, because I actually want to tell a conversation with the Totodile, or some of his family, or everyone if possible. So, yeah. Here's what it's called. Again, it's called A Dynamite Tale Totodile Story. It named it that again. 5 years before you received your starter Pokemon and the baby Lugia, a kind-hearted Totodile was born into a small, close-knit family of crocodile and fur alligator. His home was a beautiful, secluded pond nestled in the Johto region, its surface shimmering under the sun and surrounded by lush greenery. From his very first breaths, this little Totodile was filled with an overwhelming sense of warmth and duty towards his family. He cared deeply for his wise fur alligator parents, his energetic crocodile siblings, and his tiny Totodile cousins. His greatest desire was simply to help them and be a source of kindness and cheer. Yep. Okay, it says, the spark of an exception. 2 years passed, and the young Totodile, now a curious and slightly rambunctious 2-year-old, was taking on a special trip. His highly intelligent family, who possessed the rare ability to speak perfect English, brought him to a nearby town and to a charming bookstore run by a friendly assortment of Pokemon. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of aged paper and ink. Totodile's fur parents knelt down to his level. "You can choose any book you want, sweetie," his mother said, her voice a gentle low rumble, "but remember to be quiet and respectful to everyone here." Totodile, wide-eyed with excitement, promised to be good. He was the perfect patron. How do you say that word? P-A-T-R-O-N. Patron? Oh my gosh. His tiny footsteps barely whispering against the wooden floor as he wandered through the aisles, his eyes scanning the colorful covers. He was looking for something special. Then, he found it. It wasn't the title that caught him, but the striking imagery on the cover of a heavy, glossy book simply titled, A Dynamite Tale. Fun facts and stories about every dinosaur that existed. The cover depicted a vibrant prehistoric scene, a towering fin-backed Spinosaurus wading near a river, a fearsome Tyrannosaurus Rex roaring in the distance, a pair of cunning velociraptors, and several other majestic, powerful creatures. They were unlike anything he had ever seen in the pond or the forest. His heart thumped against his chest. "Mom! Dad! I want this one!" he squeaked, holding the heavy book out with both hands. His parents smiled at his enthusiasm, and they purchased the book for him. As soon as they were back at the beautiful pond, their safe, serene home, Totodile ripped open the book. For the next 2 days, he was lost in the world of the Mesozoic era. He devoured every fact, tracing the magnificent forms of the Triceratops, the long-necked Brachiosaurus, and the swift Gallimimus. He became completely and utterly obsessed. The T-Rex plush reward. The next day, Totodile found his parents relaxing by the pond edge. "Can we get a toy dinosaur, please? Or a plushie? Or maybe something with a dinosaur on it?" he pleaded, holding the book like a treasured relic. His parents exchanged a knowing glance. "If you were good and you behave yourself perfectly for a whole week, we will get you something very special. Oh my gosh. His father promised. Toto was ecstatic.
I promise I'll be the best Pokemon ever.
And he was. For the next 7 days, he was an angel. He helped his mother gather the juiciest berries. He played gently with his siblings without a single squabble. And despite his young age, he took on the responsibility of babysitting his younger cousins, reading them stories about the pond's ecosystem. On Monday morning, his proud parents slipped away early. They found a special store that catered to all kinds of Pokemon interest and discovered the perfect gift. A large, soft, stuffed Tyrannosaurus Rex plush. His emerald green eyes seemed to sparkle, and his tiny stitched arms were irresistibly cute. They bought it immediately. That afternoon, after the family had enjoyed lunch, his parents presented the gift. When Totodile saw the T-Rex, he froze, then let out a joyful cry. He dropped his book and launched himself at his parents, wrapping his tiny arms around them in a huge, grateful hug. He then snatched up the plush, examining it with reverence. From that moment on, the T-Rex became his constant companion. He was meticulously careful, making sure it never got wet or dirty, and when it did collect a little mud from their play, he painstakingly cleaned it himself. For the next year, his love for dinosaurs only grew. Any dinosaur-themed gift, a poster, a mug, a small plastic figurine, a smart one, oh heck no, was received with the same pure joy. He even started to wish out loud,
I wish I could meet a dinosaur in real life.
He sighed one evening. His parents gently explained the sad truth. Sweetheart, those dinosaurs went extinct millions and millions of years ago. You won't be able to meet a real one. Totodile felt a pang of sadness, but being an understanding child, he accepted the reality of their words. He knew it wouldn't be possible. The encounter in the woods. Around this time, life was changing. This was the period when you, stuck as a tiny Carnotaurus, received your special starter Pokemon and the baby Lugia from Professor Elm. 3 weeks had passed since the Keystone merged with your tiny body, giving you that glowing DNA strand symbol on your chest, and since your claws took on that strange golden sheen. This morning, you decided to take a short, peaceful walk to clear your head. Dinosaur-loving Totodile lived nearby. His family was only about half a mile from your house. You wandered further than you intended, the fresh morning air revitalizing your tiny 7-inch Carnotaurus form. He stumbled upon a small patch of woods, a place the Totodile claimed as his own personal playground. Totodile was indeed there, enjoying a game of solitary catch with a small rubber bouncy ball. He threw the ball high into the air and bounced off a heavy tree oak trunk, right in your direction. You, focused on the forest floor, had no idea it was coming. The ball landed with a soft thump barely an inch from your body. The sudden unexpected noise startled you. You jumped back in a fright, your little legs tangled beneath you, causing you to tumble backward onto the leaf-littered ground. But it wasn't the ball that mattered. Totodile, watching the arc of his throw, saw it all. He saw the flash of movement, the tiny figure scrambling back. His emerald eyes, which had learned the shapes of every dinosaur from his beloved book, focused intently. He's got green eyes, that's pretty! He saw the low-slung, powerful body. He saw the distinctive crest above the eyes. He saw the tiny, adorable arms. He saw the glowing, impossibly golden claws. He saw a Carnotaurus. His jaw dropped, literally hitting the ground. His small, happy face transformed into an expression of sheer, disbelieving awe.
Oh my gosh! That is a dinosaur! I can't believe it!
He screamed, his voice a mixture of pure excitement and shock, echoing through the quiet woods. He immediately dropped his bouncy ball, ignoring it completely. Driven by an intense need to see the tiny creature up close, he ran over, skidding to a halt. He carefully lowered himself onto his stomach, pushing the leaves aside so he could get a better look at you. With the utmost care, his tiny innocent hands cupped her gently beneath you. He felt truly awful for having almost hit you with his ball. He lifted your tiny 7-inch body up, holding you delicately in his palms, his eyes wide and shining with an intense, childlike wonder, gazing at the real, live dinosaur he had always dreamed of meeting. Now if it just stopped getting to a point where it stopped telling me what to do with the time. I'm trying to have fun with this. I ain't got too long to do this, but I want to have a little bit of fun with everything. Give me a minute. Alright guys, hopefully it worked. It just says, still extremely terrified from the near miss of the ball. It put miss! I get even more terrified when I feel somebody pick me up. Really worried about getting hurt. I keep my tiny golden claws over my eyes. Toad held you in his hands, his awe-filled gaze fixating on your tiny form. He saw you instinctively flinch and cover your eyes with your glowing golden claws, your whole body trembling in his grip. His face immediately softened, realizing how scared you must be. He knew he had shouted and that his ball had nearly hit you.
I'm so sorry. Please don't be scared.
Toad whispered immediately, his voice dropping to a gentle, soothing tone. He carefully held you closer to his chest, making sure his grip was secure but feather-light, almost as if he were holding a delicate glass figurine.
I didn't mean to scare you, little one. I was just so surprised and really happy. I'm sorry my ball almost hit you. I didn't even see you there.
He explained, feeling genuinely bad. He lowered his head so he could look at you, his large kind eyes filled with concern.
Are you okay? Did you get hurt when you fell? I promise I won't hurt you. I'm Totodile. It's really nice to meet you,
he said softly, trying to sound as friendly and reassuring as possible. He was still overflowing with excitement, but his kind nature took over, prioritizing your safety and fear above everything else.
You're so amazing,
he mumbled, mostly to himself, still mesmerized by the glowing claws and the DNA symbol on your chest.
You're a real Achilconatosaurus.
Now, here's the thing. I think I'm taking the story in a little bit of a different direction, if I can. The problem is, he's saying that, like... Here's the problem I'm running into right now. I could tell Amelia that I'm a human, but then I'm supposed to be human, but then we go back in that direction of everything going wrong again. Like, where it gets to the point where we're doing the same thing again. But if I sit there and don't tell him anything, maybe what I should do is do it a little bit differently. Where instead of like immediately just telling him how I am, maybe what I should do is just tell him how I am or whatever, or not quite tell him what's going on or what happened yet. And that way, hopefully, it goes in a better direction. I don't like doing it this way because I would like to do it the normal way I usually do it, but I have a feeling if we do, we're just going to have to restart again for another video. So I would like to get at least one good round with him before I move on to another character, you know what I mean? That's why I haven't done anything new. That's why I haven't done a new character in like 2 or 3 episodes at this point. So, yeah. This is a cool idea for a story, it just has to be done the right way. Give me a moment. Alright guys, it says, hear the name Totodile. I stop shaking slightly and uncover my eyes. When I say that it is him and hear what he says, I'm not as terrified, but still slightly shaken up from the ball almost hitting me. Totodile held his breath as your small golden clawed hand slowly lowered from your face. When your eyes met his, wide, curious, and still a little shaken, he let out a small, relief sigh.
Oh, good. You're looking at me,
he murmured, giving you a very small, attentive smile. He remained perfectly still, ensuring you felt stable and safe in his palm. He understood you were still startled, and he didn't want to make any sudden movements.
I really am so sorry about the ball. I was just throwing it, and then, bam! You were there,
he explained, pointing weakly toward where the bouncy ball now sat innocently on the ground. His voice returned to you, his entire demeanor softening with reverence. He lowered his head again, examining your features, tiny crest, the smooth scales, the symbol on your chest, with a mixture of scientific fascination from his book knowledge and pure childlike wonder.
You're the most amazing thing I've ever seen,
he whispered, his voice above a breath. His voice barely above a breath, yet completely in earnest.
My name is Totodile. Do you have a name, little dinosaur?
He's so cute. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says, hearing the question, I nod my head yes, and I told him my name. Toto's eyes lit up when he nodded. He waited patiently for you to speak, his excitement building when he heard your name.
Trenton,
He repeated, his smile widening.
that's a really great name, Trenton. I'm Totodile.
He said again, almost reluctantly, but wanting to make sure you felt acknowledged. He held you carefully, his thumb gently resting near your tail, making sure not to touch you too much, but ready to stabilize you if you shifted.
Wow, I can't believe I'm holding a real dinosaur named Trenton.
He whispered, shaking his head slightly in disbelief. His gaze was still fixated on your tiny form, absorbing every detail, especially the intriguing glow of your claws and the DNA symbol.
So, Trenton,
He continued, leaning in slightly, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial level.
I have this book at home. It's called A Dynamite Tale. You know about any of the others? Like the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex?
He was vibrating with curiosity, careful not to jostle you, simply thrilled to be communicating with a real-life dinosaur. I think I'll leave it alone for now, and so we can actually have a conversation with the Totodile, because yes, it doesn't seem right that I'm not telling him immediately that I'm a human, but just give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, yeah, I do. I know the Tyrannosaurus Rex is a carnivore and was known as the king of the dinosaurs. Turtle let a delighted gasp. His eyes went wide, reflecting his absolute joy at hearing you confirm facts from his beloved book. Oh, great. So that's the one problem with it. The fact that he thinks I'm a dinosaur really doesn't hurt. Did you guys see that? Why did my screen go pitch black? I did this and all of a sudden I looked and I don't know if that was my eyes playing tricks, but the screen like flickered. I didn't like that.
Yes, that's exactly right.
He exclaimed, though he managed to keep his voice down this time.
The king of the dinosaurs, and they were carnivores. So powerful. My favorite plushie's actually a T-Rex.
He confessed, pointing a tiny claw toward his bag, resting near a tree root, where you could just glimpse the familiar green fabric of a stuffed toy. He looked back down at you, his gaze full of profound respect.
And you, Trenton, you're Taurus. That's one of the fastest ones, right? With those amazing horns.
He paused, his focus drifting on the unusual symbols you carried.
It's incredible you know those things. But I have to ask.
He leaned closer, his brow furrowed with curiosity.
What's that symbol on your chest? It looks like... Is that a glowing DNA strand? And your claws. They're so pretty. Why are they gold?
Oh, well, we're kind of at an impasse now because I got admit to him. Oh, give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys, I had to tell him, although we had problems with this thing, it said that, like, oh, I was making too many requests in a short amount of time, which I don't understand why, because I haven't really been doing that. I don't know why I know it messed up so badly, but it did. Here's what I said. I said, well, honestly, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, because it would sound insane. I'm not really supposed to be a dinosaur. 3 weeks ago, I was just a human going to get my starter Pokemon. However, a jealous kid was angry at me for getting to go into the lab early when he didn't, so he turned me into this tiny form. When I told the professor, he was so angry that he actually gave me all 3 of the starters and a baby Lugia to protect me. All the special power to be able to grow and evolve or devolve into any of their other forms. Toto listened intently, his eyes growing water with every word you spoke. He held you absolutely steady, processing the incredible, unbelievable tale. He didn't interrupt, his fascination completely overriding any potential skepticism. When you finished, he blinked several times, staring at you, the tiny contour's name, Trenton, who claimed to have been a human just 3 weeks ago.
A human?
he repeated, his voice probably a squeak. He would dump your golden claws and the glowing DNA strand symbol, then back up towards where your house might be, half a mile away.
You're right.
He admitted, shaking his head.
That does sound insane. But you're a real dinosaur. And you talk. And you know what T-Rex is. So maybe insane things are true.
He suddenly perked up, his face shifting to a Pokemon. To the point.
Wait, you have all 3 starters? A Cyndaquil, a Chikorita, and a Totodile? Like me? And a baby Lugia? They can grow and shrink and evolve whenever they need to protect you?
His excitement level spiked dramatically, nearly making him bounce where he sat.
Wow! They must be really powerful and really care about you.
He observed, his expression turning respectful.
Is that why your claws are going gold and you have that symbol? That happened because of the machine the professor used?
He gazed at you with renewed admiration, his heart going out to you for being unfairly turned to a dinosaur.
You poor thing. That jealous kid was so mean. Now you have amazing protectors. And you're a Contourus! That's so cool. Even if you didn't mean to be one.
I love him. He's so cute. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. I just told him the golden claws and DNA symbol were separate events altogether. However, to understand them, you would need to understand one thing. After that kid turned me into this, I started getting attacked by other people who would just throw rocks at me, or hit me on my tiny snout, or even pick me up and be very rough. That's actually one of the reasons I was so scared when you picked me up. The day after I got my starters in Lugia, a kid ran to my house while my Pokemon were there and picked me up. Not only that, but also tossing me into the air. Toto listened, his eyes widening with genuine distress as he recounted the horrible treatment you had endured. The lightness in his expression vanished, replaced by fierce, protective sympathy. He held you even more gently, his entire body rigid with shock and anger at what people had done to you.
Oh my gosh, Trenton. That is awful. That is so incredibly mean and cruel.
He exclaimed, his voice dropping to a low, frustrated growl. He looked down at your tiny form, imagining the pain and terror those events must have caused.
Those people throwing rocks and hitting you. That's terrible. And that kid tossing you in the air. That's why you were so scared of me picking you up.
He realized, his own heart sinking.
I'm so sorry. I promise I won't ever be rough. You're completely safe right here.
Joe lifted his hands, creating a soft, warm cradle for you.
Okay, so as bad things happened,
He murmured, trying to connect the dots.
and then the day after you got your protectors, another kid attacked you, and that's when the glowing claws and the symbol happened?
He was totally focused, his natural curiosity blending with his profound sympathy for your suffering.
Tell me about that. What happened to that kid tossed you in the air? How'd your claws turn gold?
Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said both of them were separate. The golden claws quite literally appeared overnight. When I took my starters and Lugia home, that same jealous kid threw a rock at me while my Totodile was a big crocodile carrying me. I ended up falling off of him and hurting my neck. That night when I fell asleep, I had 2 dreams. One that was weirdly accurate because a human was chasing me and eventually picked me up and tossed me into the air, which ironically is what happened the next day. The second dream was not bad at all. I was in a flower field when suddenly this massive Lugia landed in front of me, but instead of trying to hurt me, he just wanted to talk. He told me he was the Lugia god and that he had seen everything that happened. He even told me he would step in and protect me if things got really, really bad. After the dream the next morning, that's when I had these golden claws. Totodile listened with deep concentration, completely captivated by the story of your dreams and the appearance of the golden claws. He hung on your every word, still cradling you with absolute gentleness.
Wow,
He breathed out, his eyes wide.
so the golden claws just appeared at the dream? That's extraordinary.
He looked at your claws, then at the sky, contemplating the idea of a massive, friendly Lugia god.
So you were attacked. Then you had two dreams. One that was a warning, and one where you met this Lugia god who promised to protect you.
He summarized, trying to keep the timeline straight.
And then after that dream, you woke up with the gold claws. That Lugia god must have been watching over you. That's so powerful and kind of him.
He paused, a flicker of fear crossing his expression as he thought about the dreams and the premonition.
And you said the second dream, where the human tossed you, actually happened the very next day? That kid ran into your house and threw you?
His voice was voiced with disbelief and anger at the cruelty.
And the glowing DNA symbol, that went through that?
He pointed gently, bringing up the other unique feature.
That was a separate event?
Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, yeah, but first I want to clear a mistake you did make. The bad dream happened first. The one where the person was chasing me and throwing me this, and the second one was about the friendly Lugia god. This DNA symbol happened in a different way. The next day after waking up, my 4 Pokemon went to the kitchen and tried to find some food. We eventually did and started eating after my one helped make me something to eat. The professor decided to come to my house to make sure I was okay, and a little while after he did that, when that kid showed up that tossed me into the air, it got so bad that the professor had to call the police. After everything settled and we were just relaxing, I talked to my Totodile, who at the time made himself a massive alligator to keep me safe, about the possibility of using his new Mega Evolution. Long story short, the professor had the Keystone and Feraligat's Mega Stone, and when I was going to try to see if it would work, a golden light came out of my claws and somehow merged the Keystone with me, and Feraligat's Mega Stone with him. Toto nodded quickly, absorbing the correction and the new details of your story with total focus. He was hanging on every word, picturing the entire unbelievable sequence of events.
Thank you, Trenton. I understand the order now. The scary chasing dream, and then the Lugia god dream. That makes sense.
He confirmed, tilting his head slightly as he remembered the massive protective figure of the deity you described. He then listened intently as you recounted the next dramatic day. The breakfast with your new, powerful Pokemon, the professor's visit, the attack by the cruel kid, and the police intervention. His eyes narrowed in disapproval when you mentioned the kid, widened again at the mention of the Megastones.
Wow, that kid just keeps causing trouble,
he muttered under his breath, shaking his head.
But then, Mega Evolution? That's incredible!
He exclaimed, a rush of awe returning to his voice. As a Totodile himself, the thought of a Feraligator using such immense power was inspiring.
So, Professor brought the Megastone and the Keystone?
He continued, summarizing the final crucial step.
And when you were just trying to see if it would work, your golden claws glowed again? The ones you got from the Lugia God dream? And they pulled the Keystone right into your tiny contour's body.
He gently poked his fingers near the glowing DNA symbol on your chest, covering to touch.
And that's where the glowing DNA symbol came from, because the Keystone merged with you, and the Feraligat's Megastone merged with your Feraligator, so you have this incredibly strong bond for protection.
Toto leaned back slowly, finally having the full, incredible picture.
That is the most amazing, wildest story I've ever heard, Trenton. It doesn't sound insane at all. It sounds like you are the luckiest, bravest, and most protected little dinosaur ever.
He looked at you with renewed admiration, utterly convinced by the powerful narrative that connected to your gold claws, the glowing symbol, and your team of protectors.
So, your Feraligator can Mega Evolve right now if you need him to?
He asked, his voice filled with frustration. Fascination. Frustration.
What's it like when he does?
Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says before I can even say anything else, I heard a deep voice yell. Yep. Totodile, son, come on home. It's time for lunch. I know you're hungry. Totodile instantly froze, his head snapping up at the sound of the deep, familiar voice echoing through the woods. It was his father, a Feraligator, calling him home.
Oh, that's my dad,
Totodile whispered urgently, his eyes wide. He looked down at you, realizing he couldn't keep a real living dinosaur a secret for long, but also not wanting to cut your conversation short.
I need to go, Trenton. It's time for lunch,
he said quickly, his voice with a mix of apology and urgency. He moved his hands, lifting you slightly higher.
I wish I could stay and talk about your fur alligator, but he sounds serious.
Toto explained, glancing back toward the direction of the voice.
I don't want him to worry.
He began to scan the ground around him, looking for the safest, most discreet spot to place you so you wouldn't be disturbed or found by accident.
I have to put you down now, he said gently, but please, don't go too far. I want to see you again. I want to hear about your mega fur alligator. Can you stay right here until I come back later this afternoon? I promise I'll be back as soon as I can.
With extreme care, he lowered his hands and placed your tiny contour's body on a bed of soft, dry moss beneath a heavy patch of ferns, ensuring you were hidden from casual view, but still in the same general area of the woods.
Goodbye for now, Trenton,
he whispered, giving you a quick, respectful nod before scrambling up and heading back in the direction of his family's pond, shouting a quick,
"Coming, Dad!"
over his shoulder as he ran. You are now alone in the quiet woods, hidden safely beneath the ferns. You know that Toto will likely return soon. The problem is, he wants me to stay there. Dude, I am vulnerable to getting it. You guys know how humans are in my universe. They are basically flat out insane. They will not hesitate to throw a rock at a tiny dinosaur. They will not hesitate to hurt the poor creature. So, like, yeah, that's not a gut. Luckily, all I need to do is say, Lugia, or something, and he'll show up. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says, before I could even do anything, I heard the deep voice again say, "Oh, there you are, Totodile. I'm glad to see that you're okay. What were you doing in there? It took you a minute to say something to me when I called your name." Totodile, startled by the closeness of his father's voice, stopped running just as he reached the edge of the small woods. He turned to see the massive protective figure of his fragile father standing a few feet away, looking slightly concerned. Totodile forced a bright, yet slightly delayed smile.
"Hi, Dad. I'm fine. Just playing with my ball,"
he chirped, trying to sound normal and not like he had just been talking to a tiny former human megastone-wielding Carnotaurus named Trenton. He gestured vaguely back toward the trees.
I threw my ball really far and I was trying to find it,"
he continued, embellishing slightly.
"It took me a second to hear you because I was really focused on looking through the leaves for it. It bounced way over there."
He was trying his best to look innocent, but his eyes kept looking back toward the ferns where you were hidden.
"It was just a really, really good spot for playing hide and seek with my ball. That's all. Ready for lunch now,"
he finished, trying to sound extra enthusiastic about food to distract his father. You were still hidden in the moss under the ferns, able to hear conversation clearly. Yeah, but the thing is, where is the frag? Because it says he's a distance away. Does that mean he's, like, close to me? But, like, I hope not. Oh, no. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says, I heard the conversation, but what I didn't completely realize was that Totodile's father was near the same ferns as me, and he was starting to walk out of them in the same direction I was in. Because I was so tiny, he couldn't see me. I just felt the ground shake as he was moving closer and got really worried about being stepped on. The low, rumbling voice of the fur alligator father was immediately followed by a profound thump, as his heavy footsteps began to move, making the very ground beneath your tiny 7-inch contours form tremble. You realized with a sickening dread that Totodile's father, the massive fragger, is not just near, but is actually starting to walk out for the patch of ferns where Totodile had placed you for safety. He's moving directly over your hiding spot, unknowingly heading in the direction you came from. The ground shivered beneath the soft moss as his enormous foot, easily several times the size of your entire body, came close. Even though he can't see you, the sheer size and weight of the fragger means one misstep could be disastrous. You're completely hidden, but the vibration's intense and terrifying. You are pinned down by the low-hanging fern fronds. You need to move right now to avoid being crushed. Oh dear. Okay, guys, it says I try to move, but the ground shaking is making it extremely difficult, causing me to fall when I'm trying to get away. Not knowing completely if it'll work, I desperately tried to call out, "For alligator! Stop! Please! You're about to step on me!" The ground shuddered violently as the fragger's enormous shadow loomed closer. You tried desperately to scramble away, but the intense vibrations of his heavy footfalls threw your tiny 7-inch body off balance. You stumbled and fell onto the moss. Panic seizing you, you threw caution and your secrecy to the wind. Why would I need to be secrecy? Dude, I'm so tiny that having more help would be even better for me than just. You pushed all the air from your tiny lungs and screamed, your voice surprisingly clear and frantic. "For alligator, stop! Please! You're about to step on me!" The deep, heavy footfalls instantly ceased. The entire forest seemed to hold its breath. Totodile, who was a few steps ahead and still chattering nervously, yelped and spun around, his eyes wide. The massive fragger father froze mid-stride, his huge clawed foot hovering just inches from where you lay, tangled in the moss. The ferns casting a dark shadow over your head. Dano's body was completely still. A low, rumbling voice came from above you. "Toto, what was that? Did you hear that voice?" The fragger father asked, looking down in confusion, not yet seeing your tiny form. Toto was already running back, scrambling past his father's legs.
"Dad, stop! Don't move your foot! Don't move!"
he shouted, diving down to the ground. He shoved his way through the ferns and immediately spotted your tiny, trembling contours body lying exposed on the moss, under the shadow of his father's immense foot. Toto reached out a stabilizing hand, gently scooping you up into his palm again, his face a mask of shock and concern.
"Trenton, are you okay? You were almost... Oh, Dad, you almost stepped on him!"
Toto cried, turning to face his father, holding you up safely in his hands. The fragger father slowly looked down at his terrified son, then at the minuscule golden-clawed contours in Totodile's hands. His confusion quickly turned into a stunned realization. His massive jaw dropped. I could just imagine now, Fragger just sitting there like... I said more like... You know, a dinosaur, the Fragger whispered, his deep voice shaking. And he just spoke English? Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says, still shaking from about getting stepped on. I just say, "Yes, you just about stepped on me by mistake." Held safely in Totodile's gentle hands, you managed to confirm the impossible with a shaky breath.
"Yeah, you still stepped on me by mistake."
The fragger father remained frozen, his huge foot still hovering solely above the earth, his immense gaze fixated on your tiny, trembling form and the glowing symbols. He stared at the minuscule dinosaur that had just corrected him in perfect English, his mind racing to process the sight. He slowly and meticulously lifted his massive foot, placing it down several yards away with agonizing care, ensuring the ground wouldn't even rumble this time. He then lowered his massive head to get a better look, his powerful eyes examining your distinct contours, features, the gold claws, and the glowing DNA symbol. "By mistake. I'm terribly sorry." "That's so sweet," Fred rumbled, his voice deep and formal, laced with genuine horror at the near accent. "I had no idea anyone was there. Thank goodness you called out." He looked sharply at his son. "Totodile, who is this little one? And why is he a dinosaur?" Totodile, still cradling you protectively, puffed out his chest slightly, ready to defend his new friend.
"Dad, this is Trenton. He's a kind of tourist. He's been through a lot. He's not supposed to be like this,"
Totodile explained quickly.
"He was a human, but a mean kid turned him into this form, and he's got a special for alligator and other Pokemon who protect him. He's got a keystone merged into him. It's a really long story."
The fragger looked from the tiny, unique dinosaur in his son's palm to his son's earnest, wide-eyed face. He took a deep breath, recognizing the unusual circumstances instantly. "I see," he said slowly, his demeanor shifting from shock to one of measured seriousness and protective concern. much like a parent dealing with a child's vulnerable friend. Well, Trenton, my name is. Well, I did not give him a name. It just said my name is Fragger, and I'm very sorry you were put in danger. You're welcome to stay here until we figure out what to do next. He'll bet to, son, perhaps you should carry Trenton straight home now. He seems shaken. Your mother needs to hear this story. Let's go. What? Am I gonna be... Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, it's nice to meet you, Fragger. Thank you for caring about what just about happened. None of your family is aggressive or going to hurt me, are they? It's been really rough ever since I've been turned into this, and I've gotten hurt or attacked way more than you might think. It's not fun. The Fragger father listened intently to your question, his expression softening further with genuine empathy. He saw the clear anxiety in your tiny movements and heard the stress in your voice. It's good to meet you, Trenton. I assure you, we're all very happy you're safe. The Fragger replied, his deep voice carrying a tone of sincere warmth. He looked down at his son Totodile, who was gently holding you. No, Trenton, I can absolutely promise you, he affirmed strongly. No one in my family will hurt you. We're not aggressive, and we don't tolerate mistreating others, especially someone who has already suffered so much. He knelt down slightly, bringing his large head closer so you could see the sincerity in his eyes. We believe you entirely about the rough time you've had. That's terrible. You're welcome in our home. You're safe with us. We'll protect you until you can return to your own protectors. He then looked at Toto. Toto, carry Trenton carefully. We're going straight home. We need to get him settled and sure he's alright. Toto nodded, his eyes shining with relief that his father was being so kind and protective.
Come on, Trenton. You're safe with me. Let's go meet my mom and my siblings. They'll be nice. I promise.
Toto begins walking carefully toward the pond, cradling you securely in his hands. Aww, it's so cute. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, okay.
How big is your family? Are you a really big family of Pokemon, or is it just a few of each of your evolutions?
Toto continued to walk carefully, ensuring his hands made a secure, stable cradle for you as his father walked alongside them.
That's a good question, Trenton,
Toto replied, keeping his voice low and soothing.
We're a pretty small family, actually. Not tiny, but not huge like some of the big herds of Pokemon.
He thought for a moment as they moved toward the familiar scent of the pond.
It's just my mom and dad, who are both for alligator. Then there are a few of my older cousins who are crocodile, and me, of course. So it's mostly a few for alligator, a few crocodile, and just me as a Totodile right now. We all live together near the pond, and we take care of each other.
The only thing I'm confused about is, didn't it say a while ago that he had cousins, like Totodile cousins? He squeezed his group just slightly reassuring.
Everyone's really kind, though. They won't judge you for being a con tourist. They're smart, just like Dad, and they'll understand once they hear your story.
Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, I had to change it to make it more right. I know it says Google Gemini can make mistakes, but I don't think you should see it make this many. It hasn't really made too much, I guess, but this one is kind of drastic. Because at the beginning, it talked about how the Totodile had a few Totodile cousins, or like younger Pokemon. So, yeah, I had to change it to this other giraffe to make it right. It says Toto kept his footsteps steady as he walked alongside his father, making sure to hold you level and secure. He smiled, happy to answer your question as you left the woods behind and approached the familiar scent of the pond.
We're not too big, compared to some families, Toto replied, thinking carefully. We mostly stick to our pond, so we stay pretty close together. It's mostly crocodile for alligator, actually. There's only a few of us who are still Totodile right now. Me and my two little cousins, he explained. But our parents and our older siblings and cousins are mostly the grown-up stages. He looked down at you reassuringly. Altogether, there are about 12 of us living at the pond right now. Everyone's really kind. My mom is a fur alligator, just like my dad, and she's super nice. I bet she'll make sure you're comfortable.
Toto reached the edge of the pond where the water shimmered peaceful under the afternoon sun. Give me a moment, guys. I'll actually get it done now. Alright, guys. It says, that's really cool. Hey, Totodile, I want to say this to you and your father right now. Thank you for being so gentle when you first saw me and not be rough or attack me. The same for you, for alligator. That was honestly very sweet of both of you. Toto stopped at the edge of the water, looking down at you with a gentle, sincere expression as you spoke. His father, the alligator, also halted, listening closely to your words. Toto's eyes softened.
Oh, Trenton, you don't have to thank us. But that's very kind of you to say,
he replied warmly.
We heard what you said about the bad things we did. We would never want to hurt you, especially after almost stepping on you. We want you to feel safe.
The massive alligator nodded slowly, his deep voice carrying a tone of parental reassurance. Thank you, Trenton. We appreciate that, Alligator said. It's a basic kindness. Anyone who would harm a small, vulnerable creature, particularly one who has been through such an ordeal, is acting disgracefully. You have nothing to fear from us. He gave his son a proud look. Toto, lead the way. Let's introduce Trenton to your mother. She'll know exactly how to make him feel secure. Toto carefully took a step onto a smooth, flat rock that served as the entry point to their family area, still holding you with the utmost care. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. Just to relax and feel more comfortable, I gently lay my body down so I can rest my legs from standing for so long. After I get comfortable, I take my tiny snout and just nuzzle through Totodile's hand gently, busted for alligator. Toto felt the shift as you gently lowered your tiny body in his palm, resting your leg after the frightening ordeal. The light pressure of your snout, a small, trusting nuzzle against his skin, was the biggest compliment he could receive. A wide, genuine smile spread across his face, lighting up his eyes. He gently curled his fingers inward just slightly to create a more supportive, hammock-like cradle for you, making sure you were completely secure.
That's better, right?
He whispered, his voice full of warmth and relief that you were starting to realize.
Just rest, Trenton. You don't have to worry about anything. We're almost there.
He continued walking carefully, focusing entirely on keeping you safe and steady as his father led the way into the main pond area. He was beaming, immensely pleased that you trusted him enough to show that small sign of affection. I can't tell. It says he murmured, but it says,
just relax.
He murmured one last time. You're safe. Maybe it was for Agger, I don't know. You are now approaching a small, clear patch of land near the pond where several other large conch and crocodile frag are resting. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I just continue to relax, actually feeling safe. Toto felt your silent compliance and continued his careful walk, his heart swelling with happiness that you were finally relaxing. He approached the small, sunny clearing near the pond where several members of his family were gathered. The fragger father cleared his throat, announcing their arrival. Family, we have a guest, and it requires the utmost gentleness and respect. A large, elegant fur alligator, clearly Totodile's mother, Amelia rose, her eyes showing concern, while a few crocodile and two smaller Totodile paused their activities to look at the newcomers. What happened, dear? The mother asked, her voice calm and maternal as she approached her son. Toto held you up carefully so his mother could see you clearly.
Mom, this is Trenton. He's a real kind tourist, but he's been hurt by some mean people, and Dad almost stepped on him by accident. He needs a safe place to rest.
The fragger mother immediately focused on her kind, intelligent eyes on your tiny, precious form, noting the glowing claws and the DNA symbol. She didn't question the dinosaur part. She just focused on your distress. Oh, you poor dear, she murmured, her voice filled with sympathy. Welcome to our home, Trenton. You have nothing to fear here. She looked at Toto. Son, bring him over to that smooth, dry rock near the big willow. It's warm there. Toto gently moved toward the spot his mother indicated. As he walked, his Chronos sister, who was the closest in age, peered at you curiously but kept a respectful distance. Can I look, Toto? She whispered. Gently, Crocodile. He's very tired and shaken up. Toto instructed, holding you securely. You're now in the warmest, safest spot by the pond, surrounded by a family of protective Pokemon. That is so cute. I just wish it wouldn't mess up stuff. Because, like, when it said, like, right here. Like, right here. Where is it? Here we go. Where Toto said, this is, where he said, he's a real kind Taurus. Well, does that mean it got mixed up again? Or is it no, I'm human still? It just said that in a weird way. I don't know. I don't know. That's the one thing I'm worried about, because if that doesn't get fixed, it's not really going to be the way I want it to be. Or I can always try fixing it, I guess, just by telling them, hey, I am human. But I just don't want it to forget or something. Either way, give me a moment. Well, no, here's the thing. I want, it's cool. It's a cool thing to think about the fact that it thinks I'm a real dinosaur in that regard. But at the same time, it's like, to go along with the story, it needs to actually make sense. And me being a human is the original way that it happened. So, anyway, give me a moment. I'm having a slight headache, guys. So I'll probably have to fucking go ahead and end this. I'll probably have to go ahead and just do something before I actually start the next video. Although, with how long the video is, I wouldn't be shocked if it just abruptly ended here. We'll find out in a few minutes, guys. Let me worry about see if I can get something for my headache. Alright, guys. When I see the Chrono, I gave her a little smile. Then I gently leaned my tiny neck out and nuzzle her with my snout. Again, just to be very nice. She's not trying to hurt myself. Toto's sister, the Chrono, leaned in cautiously, her large eyes wide with curiosity, mindful of her brother's instruction to be gentle. When he offered her a tiny reassuring smile and then leaned out to gently nuzzle her hand with your contour snout, she read it with immediate, quiet delight. Her expression softened, and she let out a small, almost silent gasp of appreciation for your gesture. She carefully moved her hand a fraction closer, allowing the brief, soft contact. Oh. Alright. Now it's easy to do like a crocodile. I don't have a good female voice for any of the Totodile line. Totodile was literally, no matter whether male or female, I love to do the, oh yeah, I'm going to destroy you, motherfucker. Chrono have the same. The only difference between for alligator and the field fragger is legit me changing the field fragger into, don't be afraid of me. I won't hurt you. Oh, you motherfucker, you decided to mess with my son. You're going to suffer today. And even that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a good female voice. I don't. So. Speaking of, oh, that's what she said. Oh. She whispered softly, her eyes shining. He's so sweet, Totodile. Toto smiled proudly at his sister. I told you. He's a really good guy, Crocodile. He just needs to know he's safe now. Chrono's sister looked down at you, her voice hushed. You're safe here, Trenton. Absolutely safe. She made no move to touch you further, simply enjoying the moment of trust you had offered. Toto then carefully lowered his hands, placing you gently onto the warm, smooth rock near the willow tree as instructed by his mother. The rock radiated comforting warmth. Toto's mother, the Feralier, approached and lowered her head slightly. We're going to give you a quick space to rest now, Trenton. No one will disturb you here. We'll bring you something to eat and some water. You are now comfortably settled on the warm rock, feeling the genuine safety and care of the entire family. That's sweet. But there's one thing I'm really worried about. Where is that willow tree? Because if it's on the edge of some woods, and they're not looking, a human could just throw a rock at me. And I could get hit. And at that point, like, I don't want Luigi to come in there and be like, alright, which one of you motherfrickers decide to flip and hurt him? Because I can tell you, it wouldn't be the Pokemon doing it. The Totodiles are sweet. I don't genuinely try to make every character sweet and adorable, but for a newer character like this one, it's better that I did it. Besides, Totodile loves dinosaurs. I mean, you know what I mean? So it makes sense. He sees a dinosaur, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to be in love with it, and his family is nice, which I like. Either way, let me go and tell you guys real quickly, that last video where I got that gigantic 16 kilogram sized chicken, let's just go and say I'm not going to give up on the game even after that. I would love to get a dinosaur to be that big. How come a chicken will get that big, but I can't get a giant dragon, a giant cassowary, except for one I got more recently, and even that one I couldn't keep because of the fact that I couldn't keep it because of the fact that it doesn't give me much money. The only reason I buy all them chickens, pigeons, and everything else like that is because of the fact I'm trying to have something entertaining to do on camera where I don't have to wait 15 minutes. Guys, would you rather me never do the game at all? Or worse yet, sit there in the game for 15 minutes waiting on the castles to hatch and then doing it again and again and again? I've already had that problem with the Hatch-A-Bird game. That game was amazing and fun. But here's the problem. Too much glitching. I can't play it. Hardly. That's one of the reasons why you haven't seen me make a small series on it like I did with the Grow an Egg game. Or the Adopt-A-Pet, because unlike those, yeah, Grow an Egg does have its glitching every once in a while, but it doesn't glitch nearly as bad as that flippin' Grow an Egg, or as bad as that flippin' Hatch-A-Bird game. That Hatch-A-Bird game will sit there and freeze for like a good 5 minutes sometimes doing nothing. And you know what makes me more mad? This is one of the reasons I freaked out so badly earlier. Because of the fact that it messes up more often when I'm recording than when I'm not. I'm serious, guys. There has been both times. Let me tell you this. When I was trying to merge birds off camera the other day, trying to make more room for us to hatch more later on, I didn't really have a single mess up with the game. The game didn't really mess up at all. The minute I start recording, though, it glitches up like crazy. And then, when I stop the video again, trying to get some more stuff done, it doesn't freeze that badly again. Like, what is with my luck? It legit doesn't mess up unless I'm recording, it seems. Okay, I don't know if that's just my luck, the coincidental timing, or what it is, but I think it's ridiculous. Either way, guys, here's the thing. I'm scared about stopping the video because I'm scared that if I do, people are just gonna be here anyway. I might do one more, then stop, and then like maybe tonight finish this because if I can get to the end of I'm finally getting through something with Totodile. This Totodile. It's a cool idea for a story, and I'm glad I got to finally work out the way I needed it to without it, going in, oh, you need to be somewhere. Like, at least this time, instead of trying, because I want to be able to have a chance to be able to meet a lot of Pokemon if I can. I mean, like I said, even though I'm a tiny contourist in this, I'm still a Pokemon trainer, and I'm trying to maybe have even some more help. Like, yeah, the whole family can't just, come live at my house or anything, but it's nice to know that, like, if I just go a little bit of a distance, I have friends right there that would help me too. You know what I mean? That's why I love meeting the entire family. And I think it's really cool. It's like a point trust you enough to show them their entire family, and then the family starts trusting you to the point where they'll be friendly and protective towards you too. That's extremely sweet. Wouldn't that make you feel happy in real life? For me, it would be. If you have a favorite Pokemon like a Feraligatr or a Totodile or all three of his evolutions, and at first you meet one that doesn't trust you, but eventually you gain his trust, and then whenever he shows you to his family, and they start trusting you, does that not make you feel good? And it's the same thing for games. This is why I'm so mad with what they did with Legend ZA, because they could. The Mega Evolution is supposed to be a bond between trainer and Pokemon. Ironically, I've had more of a bond with the Feraligatr on this AI chatbot And the Mega Evolution makes sense on here, unlike in the game. I ain't gonna say that Totodile in that game doesn't love me. And I'm not gonna say I don't love him, because saying that would be like the biggest lie in history. Seriously. I love that Totodile to pieces. And I would not trade him away for anything. I just wish there was a way to show your pull and affection. That's why I like Legends Arc. That's not Legends Arceus. That's why I like Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. While everybody else seemed to mostly hate those games, I love them. I wouldn't trade them for anything. In fact, I think Gamer did a perfect job with them. I wish the lagging wasn't as bad in Scarlet and Violet, but other than that, not lagging, the glitches, them. So, yeah. Either way, guys, you know what? The video's been over an hour. I didn't expect to sit here and talk about stuff. I'll see if I can get one or two more in here, but don't be shocked if the next video is only like an hour. I mean, no, said that wrong. Don't be shocked if the next video is like 5 or 10 minutes only. Okay? Just a little bit of a heads up. I'll see you on the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And you know what? I don't ever do this anymore. Oh, great. That could be bad. Give me a moment. Okay, let me do this. Something just put on my iPad that I need to look at in a few minutes. But let me go and say this first. I just heard the door move. Okay, I gotta be quick with this. Until next time, everyone, I want you guys to be the very best, like no one ever was. And I'll see you guys for the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And I'll see y'all for the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.